The clock on my phone read 11:47 p.m., and the school's library was eerily silent. I shouldn't have been here. But finals were breathing down my neck, and the group project I'd been stuck with was a mess. My partner Jake had bailed again, leaving me to finish our presentation alone. The school was technically open 24/7 during exam season, but nobody stayed this late. Nobody sane, anyway. I rubbed my eyes, the glow of my laptop screen burning into my vision. The library was a cavern of shadows, with rows of bookshelves stretching into the darkness like silent sentinels. The only light came from the flickering fluorescent bulb above my table and the dim emergency exit sign across the room. Every so often, the air conditioning would kick on, sending a low hum through the building that made my skin prickle. I told myself I was just tired. That's why the hairs on my neck kept standing up. That's why every creak of the old building felt like a whisper in my ear. Just finish the slides, I muttered to myself, trying to drown out the unease. But then I heard it, a faint system, sound sharp and distinct, like something heavy being dragged across the floor. My heart skipped. The library was empty. I'd checked every corner when I arrived, a habit born from too many late-night study sessions. But the sound came again, closer this time, from the stacks to my left. "Hello," I called, my voice trembling despite my best efforts to sound brave. No answer, just the hum of the AC and the pounding of my pulse in my ears. I grabbed my phone, ready to dial campus security, but the signal was dead. Of course, the library was a concrete fortress. Wi-Fi was spotty at best. I stood, my chair scraping loudly against the floor, and peered into the darkness. The stacks loomed like a maze, their shadows twisting in the flickering light. "Jake, if that's you, I swear." I trailed off. Jake wasn't the pranking type, and this didn't feel like a joke. I took a cautious step toward the sound, my sneakers silent on the carpet. The air felt heavier now, like the room was holding its breath. I reached the edge of the stacks and froze. There, at the far end of the aisle, was a figure. It was tall, too tall, its limbs unnaturally long and thin, like a marionette stretched beyond reason. Its head was bowed, but I could feel it watching me. I stumbled back, my hip slamming into a table. The figure didn't move, but the scraping sound came again. It was coming from behind me now. I spun around, my breath catching in my throat. Nothing, just empty tables and chairs. But the shadows seemed to writhe like they were alive. My mom's voice echoed in my head. "Trust your gut, Sarah." And my gut was screaming at me to run. I grabbed my backpack, not caring about the laptop or the project, and bolted for the exit. The scraping followed, relentless, echoing from every direction. I didn't dare look back. The library doors were heavy, but I threw my weight against them, bursting into the cool night air. The campus was deserted, the streetlights casting long skeletal shadows across the quad. I kept running, my lungs burning, until I reached the 24-hour diner across the street. Only then did I glance back. The library looked normal, quiet, dark, unassuming. But I knew what I'd seen. Inside the diner, the waitress, a tired woman named Margie, poured me a coffee without asking. "You okay, hun?" she said, her eyes narrowing. I must have looked like a mess, sweaty, pale, shaking. I saw something in the library," I stammered. "Something not human." Margie didn't laugh or roll her eyes. Instead, she leaned in close, her voice low. "You're not the first. Kids have been talking about that thing for years. Shows up late at night, always in the library. Nobody knows what it is, but it ain't friendly." I swallowed hard. "Why doesn't anyone do anything?" She shrugged, wiping the counter with a rag. "What's there to do? No one's ever been hurt. Not really, but those who see it. They don't come back to the library after dark." I didn't sleep that night, or the next. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that figure, its two long arms, its bowed head, the way it seemed to know me. I failed the group project, but I didn't care. Jake tried to apologize, but I couldn't even look at him. How could I explain that I wasn't mad about the work? I was terrified of going back. A week later, I worked up the nerve to return to the library during the day. With people around, I needed my laptop, and I wasn't about to let fear win. Everything seemed normal. The stacks were just stacks, the fluorescent lights steady and bright. But as I packed up to leave, I noticed something on the table where I'd been working that night. A single word scratched into the wood: Sarah. My blood ran cold. It hadn't been there before. I'd have noticed. I ran out, vowing never to stay late again. Some things aren't worth the risk, and whatever that thing was. So, here's my advice. Study hard, but don't study alone. Not at night, not in the library. Because there's something in there, waiting in the shadows. And if you're not careful, it might find you.